Yo, people, it's your boy Major, and I just quickly wanted to have a conversation about Max Verstappen because there's been a lot of talk about him in the media regarding how he drives and whether he crosses a line. And of course, there's been the back and forth between him and George Russell, and I just wanted to unpack some of it. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this. Max Verstappen is one of the greatest Formula One drivers ever. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. Whether you like him, whether you don't like him, the fact remains that Max Verstappen's legacy is already intact. He's up there. He's up there. He's a generational driver. And his legacy on this sport is stamped. It's stamped. And nobody can take that away from him. Now, partially what makes Max such a great driver is that he is a competitive freak. He's a competitive freak. He's so competitive. He absolutely hates losing. He hates it. And he's going to let you know that he hates it. He's going to cuss out his team. You're going to hear him in the interviews. He's going to swear like he hates losing. And you know what? All the great sports people, they hate losing. They're super competitive. We can go to basketball. We can go to Michael Jordan. Hates losing. Tennis, Serena Williams hates losing. Football, Messi, Ronaldo hates losing. Tiger Woods, golf, super competitive, hates losing. Usain Bolt, athletics, hates losing. The greatest sports people of all time, they're all super competitive. They hate losing. And Max, he's definitely up there when it comes to how competitive he is and how much he hates losing. Because, yeah, man, like, he always wants to win. And when he doesn't win, he gets frustrated. But that competitive nature, that's what partially makes him so great. That's what makes him so great. Now, the question is, does he cross the line too often? There's been accusations as regards to him being a dangerous driver and, him always just doing a bit too much. And what I will say is that regarding the Spanish Grand Prix, I do think that he did cross a line. And I think he knows he crossed the line. I think he knows that he crossed the line. And I understand why he was frustrated because I think his team instructed him to give up a place and he didn't need to give up that place. And if you look back, I think it's evident that he didn't need to give up that place. I didn't think he needed to give up that place. So I understood why he was frustrated, but he shouldn't have crashed into George Russell. He shouldn't have done that. And he knows he shouldn't have. And obviously, I've got the BBC article up here, and I'm just going to read some quotes from the BBC article. So regarding the incident, George Russell said, totally unnecessary and sort of lets him down. I don't know what he was thinking. It doesn't really make sense to deliberately crash into somebody and risk damaging your own car, risk a penalty. In the end, I'm not going to lose sleep over it because I ultimately benefited from those antics. Verstappen responded that he would bring some tissues next time, adding, he has his view, I have my view. Now, since all of this has unfolded, I think Verstappen has acknowledged that he was in the wrong and he shouldn't have done what he did. Like, I think he's acknowledged that. So I want to make that clear. But yeah, I think this was a case of Verstappen crossing the line. And again, I understand he was frustrated and that competitive nature is what makes Verstappen great. But we don't want to see him, firstly, endangering anyone. And we also don't want him to be a detriment to himself. And yeah, Verstappen, like I said, part of what makes him so great is how competitive he is. And in some ways, he actually reminds me of Wayne Rooney. Rooney, he's one of my favorite players ever. And part of what made Rooney so great is that edge. He has that edge. He has that fire. And if you take that away from him, he's no longer Rooney. I'll always remember the goal he scored against Newcastle where he's arguing with the ref and then the ball just sits up and he just smashes it on the volley. And it's just like, that's Rooney. Like, do you get me? That's what he does. Like, you can get the best Rooney when he's able to channel his competitive nature. He's able to channel his anger properly. And that's when you get the best Rooney. Now, at times, Rooney did cross the line. And That's what you don't want. You don't want Rooney to go over the top, because then he's going to be a detriment to himself. He's going to be a detriment to the team. But you also don't want him to lose that fire, that competitive nature, that hunger, that edge that makes him him. And I think it's the same with Verstappen. You don't want Verstappen to lose that competitive nature. That's what makes Max great. You need him to stay like that. Like, for him to be him, he has to have that edge. He needs to have that fire. We just don't want him to cross the line. We don't want him to go too far. We don't want him to be a detriment to himself, because this is a great F1 season. It's super competitive. I've been praying for this. I want to see the best drivers perform, and I want to see it be competitive. This is what I want. And Max is part of that. I want to see Max do his thing. I want to see him drive well. I want to see Piastri drive well. I want to see Norris drive well. And I want this championship to be exciting. I want this championship race to be exciting. This is what F1 should be. But yeah, I don't want Verstappen to be of detriment to himself. Like, even taking it to other sports, Draymond Green, again, whether you like him or you don't, great defender. He's been integral to the Golden State Warriors dynasty. But sometimes he goes over the line. Like, there's just too much. Like, there's a line and he crosses it. And at times, that's been of detriment to himself and to the Golden State Warriors. If you're a Golden State Warriors fan, you would have been remembering 2016, the NBA Finals, him getting suspended for Game 5. And you would have been frustrated. You would have been frustrated because you would have known, Draymond, we need you. You shouldn't be doing that here. Like, we get it. You're super competitive. You're fired up. But please don't cross the line, because it's going to affect us. And yeah, I think with great sports people, you just want to make sure that they keep the competitive nature, the hunger, but they don't cross the line. But also, he needs to remain Max. And I think that's what I'm trying to emphasize here, that he needs to remain Max. I want to make that very clear, because we need drivers like him in the sport. I know some people believe that, you know what, Max gets targeted way too much, and people always try to make a big deal about some of the things that he does, but the same thing isn't necessarily applied to other drivers, and too much is made of some of the things that he does. And I want to hear your thoughts. Like, do you think that, you know what, Max, he crosses the line too often? Do you think that, you know what, people make too much of a big deal out of some of the things he does? I want to know your thoughts. But ultimately, I want to see a great season. I want to see the best of Max Verstappen. I'm looking forward to the rest of the F1 season. I'm looking forward to all of the action. I'm looking forward to seeing how things unfold. So yeah, man. Until next time, let me hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts, please, because this is something that I don't get to do a lot of the time. Like, I want to discuss F1 with people, because a lot of my friends, they're not Formula One fans. So yeah, man, comment below, engage. Like, I want to be having these discussions. Thanks for listening, man. Please like, share, and subscribe as well. There's going to be much more F1 stuff going on. I'm going to the British Grand Prix. I'm going to try produce some content for that as well. But yeah, man, it'll be great to just engage with the F1 community. So yeah, until next time, man, stay blessed.